Hey everybody, thank you for joining us today. This is going to be the final weather briefing here. Appreciate the City of Huntsville putting this together. We're here in their EMA office. And so I'll give you first off just an overview of what's going on across North Alabama. I'm Seth Burkett. I'm with the Alabama Department of Transportation. The situation as of today is pretty much across the north region of the state, all routes, all lanes cleared of snow. That does not mean necessarily that there are no slushy areas, no issues with, particularly I would watch out if you're traveling for turn lanes, crossovers, areas like that. And of course, always watch out for areas that are in a lot of shade. So I would continue to urge motorists to use caution when driving. Reduce your speed, and particularly reduce your speed when you're entering one of those areas that is prone to icing. But overall, our operations are sort of beginning to wind down at this point. We have, as I said, pretty much all lanes on all routes cleared, at least travel lanes, that is. And crews have been working to widen out areas where windrows were intruding into the travel lanes, get some of those turn lanes, things like that, clear, and treating areas where you have wet areas or historical problem areas. We anticipate that there could be some issues with black ice overnight. It is going to get very cold, and any water that's out there on the pavement today could freeze tonight into black ice. There's almost certain to be some issues with that overnight. We will have crews at all of our districts to respond to any black ice issues overnight or any other type of problems that arise. But the majority of our winter weather operations, are now winding down. Mother Nature was very kind to us with this one. It could have been a lot worse than it was. We had pretty much an all snow event. Temperatures today have been much warmer than predicted. We got some sunshine, but just beware that all of those windrows that you see out there on the side of the road melting are, potentially going to run back into travel lanes, and tonight that could refreeze and create a very hazardous situation. So just be very cautious if you are driving overnight here, and particularly in the early morning hours when it's the coldest. And I just would like to thank the City of Huntsville, all the cities of North Alabama and counties that we have worked with, coordinated with throughout this event. ALEA and our partners with the National Weather Service, Barron Weather, that have assisted us with this. It's gone pretty well considering. And who would like to speak next? All right, Chris McNeese from the City of Huntsville.
Thank you, Seth. My name is Chris McNeese. I'm with Director of Public Works for the City of Huntsville. We're at the finish line where this event has come through. Everybody, all the entities involved. It was a sort of a successful event. Our pre-treatment worked well. We progressed with our approach of removing any accumulations on the road. Went well. The weather today worked well with us, so our roads are clearing up. Still like to caution everybody to use caution when they're on the road, just in case there are black ice scenarios and located in isolated locations. You do have a lot of cross drainage still happening from the windrows that are draining, as Seth mentioned earlier. So please still drive with caution, even though the road looks dry. Special thanks to all the entities involved. There was a lot of very good communication between all parties involved, especially ALDOT, County, and the City of Huntsville. I've been on the phone with ALDOT, both ALDOT and some commissioners, and just really appreciate their cooperation during this whole event. So thank goodness that we kept in really good communication. Also, part of the team, we don't mention it enough, is the public. We just thank them so much for complying with the request of staying off the road. Did a wonderful job doing that to allow us to do our job. So just thank you very much for that. So, and the news media as well, getting the word out there. So now I'll turn it over to Sergeant Chris Jackson with HPD.
Good afternoon. I'm Sergeant Chris Jackson with Huntsville Police Department. You know, as with these briefings, I've been giving you guys a rundown of patrol's efforts and our traffic efforts throughout the day. So today we answered 19 accidents. We still have one roadway closure. That's going to be Bankhead Parkway. That's going to be between Gaslight up to Fern Street. So that stretch that's rather curvy up past Tollgate. What can you expect for tonight? Well, they keep saying, I call them snowbanks, where they've pushed the snow off of the road. It's above freezing right now. That is melting, and it is likely going to melt some of it back into the roadway. You're looking at brutally cold temperatures tonight into the low 20s. With a wind chill, it's going to get it even colder, which means that water, if it does pond and pool on the roadway, is going to freeze, which means that you can likely expect black ice on the roadways tomorrow. So I'm urging the public, please, if you're approaching a bridge or an overpass, slow down, drive with caution. Try your best not to hit these bridges and overpasses with speed, because that's where we see our accidents start to occur. Now, the special thank yous that go out, look, thank you to the media partners. We partnered with you guys to get the message out about Friday about, you know, this is going to be hazardous driving conditions. We're recommending only essential people be out. It worked. For the most part, only the people who needed to be out were out, which freed up ALDOT, Public Works to do a lot of the work that they do and to get these roadways back open as quick as they could. I'd also like to thank the businesses. They took a loss over the past couple of days on profits for closing their businesses and customers. And for today, a lot of people have gotten a little bit stargazy and gotten out. Sun's about to set, sun's about to go down. That means them temps are going to start to come down. So if you're going to stay out a little bit later tonight, make sure when you start heading home, drive with caution, especially when you get to these bridges and overpasses, because they're likely going to be iced up. And then to my unsheltered and homeless populations, tonight's a good night to use a warming shelter. We're looking at really cold temperatures. There's several places that are open within the city that are open for you guys to come to. If you need a ride, give us a call. We can give you a ride. And after that, I'm going to turn this over to the Madison County Sheriff's Office and Brent Patterson to give you his message.
My name's Brent Patterson, and I am the PIO with the Madison County Sheriff's Office. First and foremost, just want to thank the media. Thank you guys for being there for us, being our mouthpiece to the media. We have different avenues to utilize, but you guys being there has really been a huge help. I want to go back and just reiterate what these guys have said. There's not a whole lot I can add. We've been out on the roads in the county since about 4 a.m. this morning. The roads look really good. We're happy with what we're seeing. The men and women with the city of Huntsville and the Madison County area have utilized a lot of different divisions, a lot of departments to make sure these roads are safe. But just like these guys said, we're almost at the finish line on this. A lot of wet roads, wet streets right now. But when you get out in the county, you see a lot that's not what it looks like in the city of Huntsville. When the sun goes down tonight, anything that's on the road is going to freeze. That's a fact. It's going to freeze. If you're going to be on the road, be aware of it. Be cautious. If you can try to be at home, stay home. But we do know that it's Saturday night. People antsy. They want to get out. They want to go and they want to do. And that's understandable. But at the same token, you got to consider yourself, your safety, and those around you. The warming stations, again, that's on the Sheriff's Office, our Facebook page. It's got the information there listed. If you know someone that needs help, reach out to them. I think that pretty much covers it, guys. Anybody have any questions with anyone here? Yeah.
So how did the timing of the weather, I guess, on Friday affect your guys' planning going into the weekend here?
You know, it's kind of like this. We knew well in advance that this was coming. And, of course, you hear weather statements in the past, and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't work. It's hard to predict snow. And so with that being said, you have these meetings. We all get together. We say, okay, this is what we're going to do. What are you going to do? This, we get our heads together and we sit down and we talk about it. We put together a plan. We're prepared. We were very prepared this time around. I will say that the weather worked with us a little bit as well. And you got to understand too, when you reach out to the public and you ask them to stay home, they stayed home this time, which kind of helped us out. The businesses taking the losses that they did. Businesses closed. People can't do anything if they get out on the roads and go anywhere. So everybody worked together for a common goal this time around, and it helped us out a lot.
If you can't answer this, about how much pre-treatment was used going into this, ice, drying, anything like that.
So I don't have totals for that yet. Possibly have something together a little later this week, but certainly a good bit. We had a lot on hand, and we're well stocked and prepared for this event. It's not going to be as much as we went through last year, obviously, but yeah. And to kind of jump on that, the timing answer, I think it was very good. Actually, the way that it was timed with this weather coming in on a Friday, that allowed us to have, one day where things were kind of shut down, people were staying home that they wouldn't otherwise, where they would normally be going to work. And also with the weather coming in, Thursday was all clear, and then it comes in Friday morning ahead of rush hour. So by rush hour, a lot of people were already seeing conditions that, were inadvisable to drive in. So people could kind of make that decision if they were thinking about going to work, and they look outside and say, yeah, maybe I'll stay home today instead. Mr. McNeese might have some further answer on the amounts. And
Well, there's a method to the madness on whatever approach you have towards snow and ice. For this particular event, it was an ideal event. It was snow for us, for Public Works. We knew it was going to be a plowing game. The overall goal, everyone has tasks, all the entities involved. We all have individual tasks for the overall goal of public safety. So our particular task was to remove any accumulations. Thank goodness that we were able to get some salt on some of our inclined roadways. We put rocks. We don't want to salt the bridges because salt has a chemical reaction to concrete. We rock the bridges. We salt the inclined roadways that the major collectors and the arterials. And the state and the county commissioners, they have a brine application that they use. They saw this event coming into the city. They initiated that particular process. They were ahead of the game. It was a snow event. It worked well, and it was an ideal event for that particular application. Now, specifically for us, we used rock and stone. We probably went through 60, 70 tons of salt on this particular event. Getting the collector roads and arterial roads that we did. I mean, before this event happened, we kind of estimated how much we were going to need. We pre-ordered some more to backfill that volume. So we have some more material coming in next week to replenish our stockpile, if you will, to get ready for another event if it comes to the city of Huntsville. I'm very sure the other entities are doing the exact same thing. So for us, approximately 60 or 70 tons of salt, about the same probably in rock. And we'll use it again if we need to for the next event. Oh, my apologies. Any other questions?
I'm one for Sergeant Jackson. Can you kind of talk about y'all posted on your Facebook that barricade gets destroyed? I know there's only one road still closed, but if the driver comes upon a barricade, can you kind of talk about what you don't do?
All right. So what you don't do is drive right through it. We put out barricades to signify to drivers that this roadway ahead is closed. We do that for a safety aspect. To give you reference, the parkway was closed for a little bit over an hour this morning due to the fact that we had 12 accidents within 15 minutes. So that's a lot of wrecks. As you allowed more traffic to get on there, more risk for injury, and that's not the game we want to be in. So we closed down the parkway. Inevitably, every year when we put out barricades, we do have a few people who either see it at the last second and accidentally drive through it, or in the case of the one today, I got a sneaking suspicion we just drove right on through that thing. So let's talk about tomorrow. because we're talking about black ice and we're talking about bridges and overpasses. Part of third shift's patrol efforts tonight is going to be rechecking these roadways to see if they're starting to freeze up, so that we can notify AlDOT and Public Works to begin treatment if we need it. Because like I said, the overall goal here is to try to keep these roadways open as much as possible. We may have to utilize those barricades again. If they do come out and we give you notifications that that road's closed, don't drive through the barricade. Please don't be that person. Use the alternate routes. There are plenty of north-south roadways that you can travel to get around where those overpasses are. Yes, it's going to slow you down a little bit, but that is okay. We've determined that that road that you were about to go on has a bunch of ice on it, and I would rather you get where you were going as opposed to being stuck against the embankment and possibly injured. Any other questions?
I guess you kind of saw a little bit of differences in terms of the counties. In the counties, it was like all of the roads were impassable yesterday. You saw that in general, Madison County really only had a couple roads closed yesterday, a few more impassable. Were there any differences in terms of the preparations in the county that you guys noticed from the outside counties?
So when you're talking about county roadways as opposed to cities, you're talking about a lot of back roads. You're talking about a lot of trees. You're talking about a lot of winds, a lot of bridges that people don't even know are bridges until they're driving over them. For example, there's one at Homer Nance just before Winchester. It's a small bridge, but it ices up. I watched a couple of people this morning spin out on it. And so you look at that effort and you look at things like that are out in the county. So we have particular strengths and weaknesses that work against us. With the city, you've got a lot of thick thoroughfare with not a lot of coverage. So as far as Brent can tell you more about their efforts of what they did. What I can tell you is they did just like we do. They're going to check your main thoroughfares, and their next step's going to those secondary corridors, and they're going to get off in those neighborhoods. But he'll let you tell more about their efforts if you'd like to speak to him.
Guys, there's a lot of, like they said, there's a lot of roads in the county that get a lot of ice, a lot of snow, and will stay there depending on what kind of traffic comes through there throughout the day. Our message was easy: stay home. So when you're at home with those roads, they stay pretty compacted. Today we got lucky. We had the sun that came out and melted a lot of this off. A lot of drier highways and roadways now, with the exception on some of the roads in the county, are still wet, which means after the sun goes down, it's going to freeze. The district sheds throughout the county have been extremely instrumental in making sure that we get the necessary salt and the gravel down to make sure that when we wake up tomorrow, we should be fine. Tomorrow's a brand new day. I think we're going to be fine tomorrow. But if you're out and about tonight and you think the roads are fine and you're in the county, just be careful, because there will be some frozen roads out there, some worse than others. Yeah. Yep.
So what did you guys learn last year going into this year, and then this year going into any future events like this?
I mean, if I had to say anything from my perspective, is being prepared. Just like they said, going into a weekend, the weather worked with us really good. We didn't see a whole lot of ice this time around. So with that being said, just having the people in the places, the community, the leadership in Madison County and Huntsville is excellent. It's outstanding. And being able to have the equipment in place, you can plan about it. You can plan it all year long, but when it happens and you put that plan together and you put it into effect, then the outcome, this was the outcome we expected. And we're just glad to be in a community that everything worked together as it did. Thank you.
Add one thing. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our crews that were out there working, and city crews, and all of our law enforcement people that were out there. Just like to acknowledge them and all their efforts over the last couple of days here. Thank you.